Sara Elbadwi, I got it right. You taught me well this summer. I got you here to talk a little bit about the $1 million 7 furlong filly and mare sprint. And I think the conversation obviously has to start with Goodnight Olive, the defending champion. Where are your thoughts as it pertains to Goodnight Olive?
Well, I thought this was a horse that at the beginning of this year, we kind of thought that she was maybe tailing off a little bit, perhaps not the same Goodnight Olive that we saw coming into last year's filly and mare sprint, where she was victorious. But based on her last race, a good second in the ballerina and basically replicating the best Beyer speed figure that we had seen from her in the past in her attempt to defend that ballerina title, you could say that she's still heading in pretty good form, whether you think she lost a step on her way there. I think that last race proves that she is still the same type of horse we saw last year. And with Echo Zulu out of the conversation for the Breeders' Cup and thankfully healing from her surgery that she recently had and doing better each day. So thoughts with her, of course. This is a situation where I don't know that she's necessarily facing the toughest competition she could have been, and she'll be tough. I don't have a big argument against her.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that a lot of people could make the mistake by, thinking that maybe she hasn't been the same horse. I think she had some circumstances early in the year that kind of led to the reason she wasn't the same dominant horse she had been previously. But I also think that I'm a strong believer that her last race where she was beaten by Echo Zulu was probably the best race she'd run all year, arguably maybe in her life, right? She was kind of taken out of her comfort zone, having to chase that freak around the racetrack, and then was still able to kind of hang on and run a speed figure that was the best that she had run all year. So I think she's going to be pretty tough to beat. I think she could possibly be the shortest price favorite that we see over the 2 days. We'll see what happens with Tamara and the juvenile fillies. Sara, was there any other horses in here that you thought might be interesting from a pace standpoint, or even just from a maybe improving standpoint, kind of a price horse that you kind of had your eyes drawn towards?
I wish that there was somebody that was that intriguing type of long shot. I think a horse like last year in the distaff that will appeal to a lot of people that I'm not particularly interested in is Society. This is another Asmussen horse who has shown some good early speed, but I think that her victories where she has really shown up with those sort of eye-catching performances and those higher numbers, they've been aided by a speed biased racetrack, whether it was last year at Parks in that cotillion or earlier this year at Ellis and even Charlestown. She's a horse that I think a lot of people will be into that I'm not really interested in. A horse that I hope does show up that is listed online, at least in the probables, is Desert Dawn for Phil D'Amato, a horse that's outrun her odds a couple of times. If she ends up playing, she will have to take a step forward, but that's one that I'm eager to see in the lineup of this field.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing about Desert Dawn is last time she ran in the Zenyatta going a little bit longer, she'll kind of be one of those cutback horses. And those horses seem to run well, in my opinion, when it comes to the filly and mare sprint. Obviously, the boys sprint or the open sprint is 6 furlongs, but the fillies and the mares will go the 7. So I think it kind of plays to some horses maybe cutting back because, there's that they don't want to go a mile and an eighth against some of the monsters in the distaff. Let's try this a little bit shorter. So I think that's interesting as well. So I'm guessing by what you said, I'm not going to hold your feet all the way to the fire. Pre-entries, we recorded this on Wednesday. Pre-entries come out at noon today on Wednesday. This will probably come out after that. So forgive us if someone entered in here we didn't see or know. Are you with or against Goodnight Olive?
I'm with. I'm not going to try too hard to beat her. I'm going to try to use somebody at a price underneath. That'll be how I approach this race and getting some sort of price in the exacta and trying to key her on top.
Sara, I appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with your Breeders' Cup wagers.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want more great content, choose one of the videos you see on screen now, or go to our website, inthemoneypodcast.com. And for even more, check out inthemoneypodcast.com/plus.